It is a perfect night for baseball here in Scottsdale Stadium, the spring home of the Giants. These squads will meet up 19 times during the regular season, but the first meeting this spring right now, the Dodgers and the Giants. And we're so fired up to be bringing it to you. Welcome inside. Joe Davis with Orel Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in just a moment. So the Dodgers and the Giants, one of the great rivalries in sports. I think we may have handpicked this one to be our first one of the spring, huh?
Not only the black and orange on the other side, but a night game. There's things in spring training that you look for, and you got regulars on both sides playing in the game. You got the night game, and you got the rivalry, and we're headed into 2017.
When you look back quickly at 2016, the Dodgers with a fourth consecutive division title. They beat the Nationals in the division series before losing to the Cubs. And as usual, a ton has happened since then. What stood out to you?
You know, coming into spring training, there was such momentum, and it was caused by Kenley Jansen resigning, Justin Turner resigning. You know, Rich Hill is here, and then Chase Utley shows up. The momentum for the team coming in from the pitchers and catchers reporting to the fact that the regulars are here. I think this team will hit its stride very early.
All right, it's going to be Scott Kazmir for the Dodgers tonight against the Giants. Matt Cain, a couple of guys battling for rotation spots. First pitch coming up. March begins with the Dodgers and the Giants from Scottsdale tonight, meeting for the first time this spring. And it is a beautiful night for baseball with the temperatures in the high 60s after a couple of unseasonably cool days here in the Phoenix area. 69 at game time with a light breeze and that sun setting. We'll play under the lights tonight. The Dodgers coming in at 3-1 and the Giants at 3-2, whatever that means as far as spring records go. And the Giants taking the field behind Matt Cain, ready to face off with this Dodger lineup penned out by Dave Roberts tonight. Familiar look at the top of the order with a guy that was there for much of 2016, and Chase Utley with the Yasmani Grandal hitting second. All reports have been positive with the work he put in the offseason, and look at him there. He looks like he's half of what he was last year on the left side of your screen. Doc Peterson hits third and starts in center. Then it's Puig in the cleanup spot right. Kike Hernandez starts for Corey Seager, who fouled a ball off his leg recently in spring action. A little bit of bruising going on there, so continuing to rest that. Cody Bellinger, the top prospect in this system, starts at first base. Bobby Wilson acquired this offseason. Charlie Culberson hits 8th, and Henry Ramos, previously of the Red Sox organization, hit a home run yesterday and starts again today against Matt Cain. Can you believe this, Orel? He's not only the longest tenured Giant, but he's the longest tenured Giant by 4 years, entering his 13th Major League season.
And Matt Cain is a completely different pitcher now in his 13th year. This guy used to average around 96 miles an hour, could tell you his fastball was coming, but now he tops out about 90, 91, has to spot it up, and the lack of arm speed on the fastball also makes the curveball a little easier to read, so he has to be a lot more accurate compared to when he was an all-star in 09, 11, and 12.
Yeah, battling for a 5th spot in the rotation, 32-year-old out of Dothan, Alabama. I would love for him to win that spot because a lot of the other guys battling for it still have options, whereas Cain doesn't. One veteran against another to get us started. But Chase Utley climbing in on a perfect night for baseball here in Scottsdale. And away we go with ball one, called by Jim Reynolds behind the plate tonight. And it sure is good to see Chase Utley back in Dodger blue, especially when you consider that it went so long this winter without him signing. 1-1.
Chase coming back brings that veteran presence, that intensity in the pitch-for-pitch dedication, and there was a huge smile on Corey Seager's face when Chase was returning, with all the time that they spent together and how Chase mentored him through the year.
2-1. And Chase even admitted that it went as long as it did, and then he saw the Dodgers make a trade for Logan Forsythe, who will be the starting second baseman. But Chase admitted that he figured the ship had sailed and he was going to play this year somewhere else. 2-2.
And behind those comments were Andrew Friedman saying he would have been signed a lot earlier if he had a right-handed bat that he could use, that the Dodgers trying to improve against left-handed starters and left-handed bullpen pieces.
2-2 from Cain. Outside and it's full. We're going to get a chance to visit with Andrew Friedman later tonight. Join us here in the booth. As Matt Cain readies for a payoff to Chase Utley. Sharply hit to first and backhanded by Belt for the game's first out. Matt Cain, the longest tenured Giant. He's a former first-round pick way back in 2002. He was 20 years old when he debuted in 2005. One of the youngest players in the majors when he arrived. He's been a full-time member of the rotation since 06. And he goes to work against Yasmani Grandal. Strike one. He is noticeably slimmer, isn't he, Yasmani?
Every spring that he's been a Dodger, it seems like he's always said, this is my healthiest spring coming in. So if he's improved on last year, he's in great shape, and he definitely looks thinner.
Goes up and pulls that one into right field for a base hit. And he is, at least on the scale, significantly lighter than he's been in years past. Said that he entered the spring 20 pounds lighter than he normally does, cutting out a lot of meat from his diet.
They did a nice job there, getting on top of that high fastball. And we talked about Cain's lack of velocity compared to when he broke into the big leagues at 96, 97 miles an hour. Right there, up around 90, Yasmani able to catch up to it and get on top of it.
So one away with a man at first for Jock Peterson. Inside for ball one. Big jump for Jock in his second year last year. And did something that is a little bit counterintuitive, in that his contact rate went way up, but so did his power numbers. A lot of times he sacrificed one for the other. On 1-0, ball two.
I haven't seen Jock cut down on his bat speed at all. His two-strike approach was better. He used left field a lot better last year. Wasn't pulling off the ball as much. I think that approach helped with the contact, but also he just has such tremendous bat speed. It's not really that he hits it over the fence. He hits it out of the park.
On 2-0, he takes ball 3.
Interesting approach that he's doing a little more often, almost all the time, really, that step back of his back foot in the batter's box now. You see most people put their weight on the inside of their back foot and then stride from there, but Jock actually steps back as the pitcher starts the delivery to get some weight on the back leg.
Goes after 3-0, strike 1.
Take a look down here at the lower half at Jock's back foot. You see the step back, kind of the lean with the kick into that leg, and then it goes into that launch position.
He was tweaking continuously during spring training last year. 3-2. There's that wicked cut that you expect from Jock, and really back to late 2015, his rookie year, where he was an all-star, but then struggled in the second half. It was constant tinkering. And he says that he's finally been able to simplify what he's working on, dial in to improvements, and in a much better place going into 2017. The payoff. Ripped to first off a bounce. They go to second, 1, and there's a double play. So 3-6-3 to finish the inning. Kane faces the minimum in the first. Scott Kazmir takes the ball. You come back. Longtime manager of the Giants, Bruce Bochy, looks on as San Francisco gets ready to come to bat for the first time tonight with Denard Span to lead things off. Eduardo Nunez hitting behind him, and then it's Hunter Pence. Brandon Belt, longtime first baseman now for the Giants in the cleanup spot. One of the guys battling for a utility spot in the infield is Aaron Hill. Then it's Parker, Beckham, and Tomlinson. 2 more guys that are battling for spots. And Fedorovich hits ninth against Scott Kazmir. 33 years old, out of Houston. Making his first outing of the spring here in his 13th major league season. Second one with the Dodgers as he tries to have a bounce-back year from what was a really frustrating injury-riddled debut season in Dodger blue. And he begins Denard Span with strike 1.
Scott won in double figures at the 10 wins, but the ERA was high and the number of starts that he made was not at the level that he would like, and he's just looking for.
Tap to second, picked up by Chase Utley for the first out.
A delivery, you know, a delivery with Scott that he can return to that all-star form, something he's very comfortable with. And, you know, you battle through a lot of injuries, and sometimes you can get in some habits that keep you away from pain but aren't the best to deliver the ball effectively. And I think that's what Scott is really working on this spring, to find that delivery that's very comfortable for him to really execute his pitches.
With one out, it's Nunez. The Giants got at the deadline last year from the Twins. And expects to be the starting third baseman for them this year. Kazmir home with a 1-0. 1-1. For Kazmir, it was a small problem that snowballed and led to another problem. Injuries at first, and then overcompensating for the pain he was feeling that messed with his mechanics. Again, bounce to the right side. Cody Bellinger feeding Kazmir, who's a good athlete, and shows it with a bare hand catch. Steps on the bag for the second out.
It's a lot of fun to go over there in spring training and have a play like that. The PFP, pitchers fielding practice, they do so often down here in Arizona. I'll tell you, a little change up right here, and gets over there. Good solid break. He thought Bellinger might take it by himself, but then had to scoot over there and get involved.
He'll pitch 2 innings tonight. At least that's the plan. Typical for this stage of spring training. You see Kershaw and Urias both going just 1 inning in their starts. These guys build up in this extra long spring training because of the WBC. Hunter Pence. Goes after the first pitch, strike one.
Buster Posey was penciled into this slot in the order earlier in the day, but was a scratch, and Hunter got slipped into the 3-hole. We haven't heard why Buster was a scratch, but here in spring, anytime there's just a little something, they don't take the risk. I'm sure it was something that he would have played if it was a regular season game, as late as the scratch came. But management on both sides and all around the big leagues, if they hear of one of their stars that has a little ache or pain or stiffness of any reason, they are going to scratch him out this early in spring.
And it actually did just come down that he's dealing with a little bit of neck stiffness. 1-2. He and Brandon Crawford, both of the Giants, getting ready to join Team USA next week for the WBC, which will conclude at Dodger Stadium in late March. Kazmir to Pence with a 1-2. And he tomahawks it to third, and Charlie Culberson for a 1-2-3 first inning. 3 ground ball outs for Kazmir, and scoreless after 1 in Scottsdale.
Demand Performance Sales event is here, where the adventure, capability, and versatility will last, but the offers will not.
Final moments of the sun on this Wednesday night in Scottsdale, with the Dodgers and Giants scoreless as we go to the second. And Yasiel Puig stands in. So does Alana. Sneak peek of what's coming next. Puig took one. Alana, I guess we're going to go to you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Nice to be with you guys this year once again. The Dodgers actually, guys, making a trade at about 6 p.m. Mountain Time. They announced the trade. The Dodgers have just acquired minor league shortstop Drew Jackson, as well as minor league right-handed pitcher Anuris Zabala. I'm going to have some time to figure out that name in exchange for right-handed pitcher Chase DeYoung. So these guys are going to be switching camps in spring training, so Chase is now a member of the Mariners farm system, and the Dodgers get Drew Jackson and Anuris Zabala.
All right, thank you, Alana. 2-1 on Puig. That's impressive pronunciations on short notice. That trade literally just came down. 3-1.
High-quality young man the Dodgers traded right there, and I'm sure they got a couple of high-quality players, because Chase DeYoung was the Double-A pitcher of the year, and really enjoyed my time this spring working with him, as I did with some of the other young pitchers on the Dodger roster and off the roster. And Seattle Mariners got a fine young man right there.
Dave Roberts, flanked by his bench coach Bob Guerin, and the hitting coach Turner Ward. Juan Castro over there as well, quality assurance man for the Dodgers.
And we know the players come into camp and they work hard as they need to work to get in shape for the season, but that staff works doubly hard because their hours are long.
Puig strikes out swinging to begin the second, the first K of the game for Kane.
That's a pitch that Yasiel will want to hit in the regular season, a hanging breaking ball there right by belt high that had some bend to it, but not an awful lot. If he hits that one out of the park, Matt Cain will be shaking his head and trying to improve right there. Yasiel needing to improve.
Kike Hernandez hitting fifth today, taking a breaking ball for a strike. One of the storylines last year for the Dodgers was their issues hitting left-handed pitching. Hernandez smacks one back up the middle. Cain got a piece of it. Tomlinson threw Hernandez out. But the point being with Hernandez is that, 2 years ago when he had his first extended big league action, he had the best average against left-handed pitching in baseball. But last year was below 200 in that category. So he's one of the guys they're counting on to regress back to where they've proven they can play against left-handed pitching. Also making a move like getting Forsythe, getting Gutierrez to help in that cause. Here's Bellinger. Strike one.
Facing left-handers for the Dodgers last year was a struggle, and that was a big topic through the offseason on how they would configure the roster. And those questions to the front office then trickle down to the players once camp opens.
Bellinger yanks a base hit to right. The Dodgers' second hit of the day comes with 2 outs here in the second.
Dodger locker room, though, and chemistry and the makeup of the team, they are very confident that they think they're going to do much better against left-handers this year. And, everybody's optimistic in spring, but there's a look in the eye that they understand that what the target is and they need to improve.
2 outs for Bobby Wilson. Camp with the Dodgers for the first time. He was actually drafted by the Giants out of high school many years ago, and then eventually went the JUCO route and signed with the Angels after they drafted him following 1 year of junior college ball.
Real good catch throw guy. Major league batting average is .214, so he's not overall a bat you're looking for, but he can really handle a pitching staff.
Fouls that one off, and it's 0-2.
And throughout spring, you have so many side works and bullpen sessions. And, of course, the Dodgers want him to be exposed to all the different arms. And I've heard great feedback about his rhythm and his targets behind the plate and how comfortable they are to throw to him. You
saw his line last year. You hear about journeyman in baseball. He could be classified as a journeyman from last year alone. Texas to Detroit, back to Texas, and then Tampa Bay. And he shoots one into right center. That's a base hit. Cut off by Span. Bellinger goes first to third, and a base hit from Wilson. And so back-to-back 2-out singles for the Dodgers, placing men at the corners.
Here's a look at the Carl's Cam replay with Bobby Wilson as the feature, and Turner Ward, the hitting coach of the Dodgers, will be glad to see this one on Carl's Cam, him staying inside that ball, using the right side of the diamond so that he could be on the breaking ball or the fastball, and that base hit sets the table here for first and third for the Dodgers with 2 outs.
For another guy who was once drafted by the Giants, and Charlie Culberson. Drafted by the Giants, debuted with the Giants. Handful of games in 2012. Then to the Rockies for a couple of years. Was on the Dodgers opening day roster last year. Spent much of the year in AAA. And then, of course, one of the greatest moments in franchise history. He was responsible for with a home run to clinch the division. Vin's last home game. That's another base hit to right. The Dodgers string together 3 of them with 2 outs to break the scoring seal here in the second. Charlie Culberson with an RBI single, and it's 1-0.
Some good hitting by the bottom of the order for the Dodgers right here, but also a little bit of an example of the lack of velocity and where Matt Cain has to be really precise. Charlie takes advantage. Bobby Wilson took advantage, and Cody Bellinger took advantage. And even think back to Yasiel Puig, the hanging curveball that he struck out on. Matt Cain really not hitting his spots right here.
Now Henry Ramos. And Ramos hammers the ball to right center field. And that thing bounces all the way to the base of the wall. It will score a pair. Ramos on his way to third with a triple. He homered yesterday, and the former Red Sox farmhand making an impact in his first Dodger camp. It's 3-0.
Henry Ramos with a lot of confidence here, jumping on the first pitch, outer half and up, and pulling it into the gap. And that just puts you off and running if you're on the bases, because with 2 outs, you're going on swing and contact, and Ramos eases into third base.
And that is 4 consecutive 2-out hits against Matt Cain from the bottom of the Dodgers order. Keeping the inning alive for Chase Utley. Counted out to first his first time. And bats with Ramos at third, and 2 gone here in the second. Half-hearted swing and a miss. Fooled him. 0-2. Ball 1. Here's Cain's 1-2, and Utley takes it inside to even the count. The guy in Cain that over his first 7 major league seasons was an all-star 3 times. He's been well below average statistically 4 years in a row battling injuries. Full count on Utley. Started with an elbow. Had to have surgery to remove some bone chips. More elbow issues after that. Then he had to remove a cyst from his arm prior to last season. Hamstring issues last year. Finally somewhat healthy entering this spring, though. Utley on the ground to Belt to bring this second inning to a close. At the bottom of the order, string something together against Cain. After he got Puig and Hernandez, Bellinger with a base hit. Wilson with a base hit to the opposite field. Culberson began to score, and Ramos added 2 more with a triple, and it's 3-0. Middle third of the Giants order coming up against Scott Kazmir here in the second. We go down to the dugout where Alana Rizzo has Yasmani Grandal.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Yasmani, the DH today, but certainly you've been watching what Scott Kazmir has been doing. I know he's been working through some mechanics. What are you noticing from him in his first inning of work?
Just the matter that he's actually throwing strikes and attacking hitters. Using his secondary just to get him off balance, but for the most part, attacking the guys, and that's what we want to see.
So far in spring, you're swinging a hot bat. We've talked about it at length before, but obviously a new plant-based diet. The strength is still there. How's the timing coming down?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about timing and getting good contact. I think that's one of the things that we worked on the most this offseason. You know, how could we make our swing better in order to adjust on the move, just in case you're out in front, you can still get good contact, and it's worked out well so far. So hopefully we can keep it going and heading into the season, and we'll continue doing it.
Single for you in the first inning, then 4 straight hits against Matt Cain in the second inning. This is a team that can hit a little bit.
Yeah, you know, we got a plan no matter whether it's spring or during the year, so we're going to execute the plan. Obviously in spring we tend to work on small things. But, yeah, we're definitely swinging the bats good today. Hopefully we can keep on going.
You're leading off the next inning, so this will be my last question to you so you can watch what's going on. Do you watch the game differently as a DH versus than when you're behind the plate?
No, yeah, I mean, I would like to watch it just like if I was catching and just looking at hitters, basically, pretty much seeing what they're trying to work on, if they're trying to work on something, if they changed anything from last year, and pretty much keeping it simple and just watching the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you, Alana. Thank you, Yasmani. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Belt. There was a funny story relayed the other day about Grandal and his off-season diet, going to that plant-based diet, and really being careful about reading labels and you know, dialing in the macros and all that stuff. And he said that there was one moment where he realized that he was really in deep with this diet. Here's a 1-2. Yeah, Belt strikes out swinging. Kazmir's first punch out. He has a 7-year-old daughter who went to her grandma's house. Grandma got her a candy bar because that's what grandmas do. And his daughter checks the label and says to Grandma, "Grandma, there's 57 grams of sugar in here. I can't eat this." And that's when Yasmani knew that he was probably at another level of dieting, when his daughter was even having it rub off on her and wouldn't eat Grandma's candy bar.
They're always watching.
Aaron Hill, ball 1.
Speaking of daughters, how's Charlotte?
She's great. Thank you.
Is she a little over 8 months old now? Wow. We can't wait to see her.
Yeah, she can't wait to see you guys. In the big picture, she's great. Right now, I guess she's a little fussy today. I know she's listening. Charlotte, be good for Mom. A 2-0. And a little bit low on Hill. Well, Aaron Hill, one of the many guys in this camp trying to win a utility infielder spot. And one of many veterans trying to do so. A lot of guys in their 30s. Yeah, might have clipped him. Either way, it's ball 4, and Hill is aboard here with 1 out.
Old friend Jimmy Rollins is in the Giant camp trying to catch on as a utility guy.
2017 Dodgers season tickets are available now for a limited time only. You can enjoy exclusive benefits, great savings, starting as low as $13 a game. More for greater flexibility while you enjoy exciting matchups, promotional nights. You can purchase a mini plan. Dodgers.com/season tickets, the place to go. First base runner of the game for the Giants, Jared Parker, goes after the first Kazmir offering, strike 1. So there's Hill, who's battling for a spot, 34-year-old. Gordon Beckham, who's a veteran, battling for an infield spot. You mentioned Jimmy Rollins in his late 30s, battling for an infield spot as well. But it might be the youngest of the bunch that has the leg up on that competition, that being Kelby Tomlinson, who's been on the roster for portions of the last couple years. And Jared Parker, who's at the plate right now in a competition of his own for the starting left fielder job. That one gets by Wilson. Hill moves into scoring position.
It's graded in a wild pitch, and the spray pattern right now for Scott Kazmir not good. Pulling a few balls over towards that right-hand batter's box. One clipped Aaron Hill, and now the wild pitch. Just looking for that rhythm and that delivery that he can stay in the strike zone or around the edges consistently.
His 2-1 to Parker. 2-2.
Sometimes when you come back from an injury, it can be as much mental as it is physical, where the physical pain goes away and you feel really good in your workouts and even when you're just playing catch, but you get back on that mound and you look in at a hitter and all of a sudden some of those compensatory movements that used to make to avoid pain, it's hard to kind of flush them out and then get back to being natural and where you want to be.
Got in the hands. Foul ground at third. Culberson watches it go into the seats.
I remember coming back from my arm surgery. I know Scott's coming back from back and neck issues, but coming back from a shoulder reconstruction. Dr. Job would tell me, you know, the arm's fine. Go ahead and use it. I know you get aches and pains here and there, but don't worry. That's just getting in shape. And then it was leveraging the baseball and trying to find that just pick up a rock and throw it feeling like you did when you were a kid, just to do something natural and be worry-free. And I think that's what Scott is looking for.
He brings in another 2-2, and Parker pulls it down the right field line, and it hooks its way just fair off the wall. It's an RBI double for Jared Parker, scoring Aaron Hill. And the Giants on the board. It's 3-1.
We go from pitching and throwing balls into the batter's box to trying to get them over to the plate, and he does with this one, but it just stays up. It's kind of lazy and does a nice job keeping that ball fair by inches to get the Giants a run.
And to bring up Gordon Beckham. Kazmir downhill with ball one. Good stop by Wilson.
You see the same mistake right there, and a nice stop by Wilson. Scott pulling that ball again, and he's searching.
We've touched on the issues last year that started right after his first start of the season. He felt tightness in his hips that led to some bad habits in his delivery early on. And then those compensations you talked about in his delivery, had that pain migrating up his back, eventually into his neck. Got to the point where he couldn't even turn his head like you see right now to look towards home plate, and that's when he had to shut his season down in August. The 2-0 is a little bit up. So he adjusted his offseason routine to get the body ready. Some acupuncture, more flexibility work. So the body is where it needs to be. It's just what you're talking about is making that next step and taking advantage of that and refining the delivery that works for him. And a 4-pitch walk to Beckham.
You try so many things when you're out there on the mound. You might try your little head position or moving your glove a little bit, where you come set, or how you want your weight distributed when you come set from the stretch. And you're tinkering, you're looking for that new toolbox to feel like you can really find it and leverage the ball to home plate and throw it exactly where you want to.
McCunney caught out there to talk with him. 13th major league season for Scott Kazmir. First with Tampa Bay. He was one of the bright young starters in the game early in his career. Opening day starter when he was 22 years old. That was back in 2006. And at that time, he was the youngest opening day starter since Doc Gooden took the ball for the Mets in 1986. He's a strikeout champion. You mentioned Matt Cain and how he's evolved. Same can be said for Scott Kazmir. He used to just grab it and throw it. And it led to those high strikeout totals. Strikeout king is a 23-year-old. With runners at first and second and one away, Kelby Tomlinson stands in. And after the mound visit from Rick Honeycutt, Scott Kazmir finds the zone.
If you're on the bench next to Rick Honeycutt right now, you're saying good visit.
All right. Ball one.
It's not an arm speed issue with Scott at all. This spring, he's got plenty arm speed, is able to spin the ball, take velocity off with his changeup. It's looking for that delivery to hit those spots.
Hit Colby, hit Colby, peanut.
2-1, and it trickles by Wilson. The tying run moves into scoring position. Unlikely to be ruled a pass ball. There'll be a wild pitch and a pass ball in this inning.
Good easy one to move up on once it goes through the wicket.
Here comes the 2-1. Tomlinson fouls it off, 2-2. Kelby Tomlinson has played about 50 games each of the last 2 years and posted really good numbers. It's just he's behind Joe Panik at second. He's behind Brandon Crawford at short. So the spot he's trying to win is a backup role. And that battle with all those veterans we mentioned.
His opportunities last year came because of injuries, and he performed very, very well, like a lot of the guys on the Dodger roster, the young fellows that got a chance. It's a time when the young fellows, they can get a little frustrated because they've proven they can play at the big league level. Now they're looking for that second opportunity because the veterans get healthy and they're back into their roles. They're having to shift gears a little bit and not think about being a starter, but finding ways to play on a part-time basis and still be effective.
With runners at second and third and one gone, Kazmir home with a 2-2. And Tomlinson fouls off another.
And who knew of Andrew Tolles?
Sure.
Chris Taylor, Charlie Culberson. I mean, all these guys, you know, Andrew Tolles might be in a battle for some majority of playing time in left field, but I'm not sure Charlie Culberson or Chris Taylor is. They're both trying to figure out a way to maybe make the team any utility role.
Kazmir fighting for one of those rotation spots. Pretty solidified 1 through 3. Kershaw, Hill, Maeda. And depending on the direction they choose to go to start the season with Urias, that depends, or that determines how many spots are open. Tomlinson goes to second for Utley. This will bring home Parker. Up to third goes Beckham, and it's a 3-2 game. And an RBI bounce out from Tomlinson.
There are quite a few names after you get by the big three with Kershaw, Hill, and Maeda, and you look at all the names after that. Scott Kazmir, Brandon McCarthy, large investments there. They're going to get a big crack at being in that rotation. Alex Wood has been in a rotation, also can pitch out of the bullpen. And the boy wonder, Julio Urias and Brock Stewart came up and did a great job, and Ross Stripling was absolutely amazing last year. And then Mr. Ryu is throwing the ball very well this spring and is looking healthier and healthier.
Scott Kazmir comes out. Josh Raven comes in a 3-2 game in the second. Back in a moment. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Carl's Jr. The $4 real deal. 4 items for just $4 at Carl's Jr. Dodgers and Giants, 19 times the regular season they'll meet up. Meet up twice this spring. The first time tonight. Kazmir out, Raven in. Was so impressive in those 10 appearances last year. Gave up just 1 run. And it actually came against the Giants on a Brandon Belt home run. Tim Fedorovich stands in with a tying run at third and 2 gone in the second. And Raven delivers high, ball 1. Former Dodger here. Parts of 4 seasons before spending last year with the Cubs. Played in a handful of games, but enough to get a World Series ring out of it. And you can usually judge a position player's standing in spring training by checking his number. 72 means that he's probably not a favorite. There are exceptions, of course. Puig 66, Toll 60. Raven all over the place. 4-pitch walk to start his night.
Josh definitely in consideration for the Dodger bullpen after that stellar ending to last season. The way he dialed up some zeros. Throws extremely hard. Got a very good slider and a real nice changeup. But it is also about location. And that's what he had at the end of last season.
Second trip to the Giants order now. Denard Span. Grounded out to second his first time. And that's 5 straight balls from Raven to begin. This is already, though, a better start to spring training for Josh Raven than his spring last year, when he got the flu and strep throat. Missed a week, lost 20 pounds dealing with that illness. Finally got healthy. And days later broke his arm in a car accident. 1-1. He had to undergo surgery. Missed 3 months. It was his non-throwing arm, but still he completely fractured it. He posted a nasty picture on Twitter. So while he's sitting out for the 3 months after the surgery, he's suspended 80 games for a positive PED test, which was caused by a banned substance in a sports drink supplement that he took while he was trying to speed up the recovery from the illness that he had. And so with the suspension, he was ineligible for the postseason roster. And was ineligible, period, with the 80-game suspension until that ran up. But it was pretty darn impressive. And had he been eligible, I think probably would have made the postseason roster with the way he pitched down the stretch. Span bloops one to second, and Utley's there to finish the inning. The Giants get 2 off of Kazmir, and after 2, 3-2.
presented by authority of the Los Angeles Dodgers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Dodgers.
About some of the notable moves during the offseason, a lot of them were retaining key pieces. Turner, Jansen, Hill, and Utley all taking less money to stay with the Dodgers. Logan Forsythe acquired in the trade for Jose De Leon to address a lot of needs for the Dodgers. And then, of course, the former Giant Sergio Romo signs a one-year deal after spending the first 9 years of his career in San Francisco to join his former teammate in San Francisco is now manager Dave Roberts. Ty Block comes in for Matt Cain, and Yasmani Grandal greets him by taking ball one. So the Dodgers investing more money than any team in baseball this offseason, but ironically looking much the same to what they did last year. The feeling around the club is that they were that close. And a few fine-tuning moves, like getting Forsythe and bringing back those core pieces the route the front office took. And the ground is short for Gordon Beckham.
Yeah, the move for Logan Forsythe, probably the biggest move as far as a change, and Sergio Romo in the 8th inning, but Logan's going to be a nice asset. Primary position is second base, but he's played all over the diamond in his career, so there could be some flexibility there on nights when they want to get Chase Utley in there. Logan's played third base, shortstop, left field, right field. Really hasn't only played center field or catcher. So when they want to get Chase in there or maybe some other guys, Logan could move around a little bit.
Chuck Peterson taking ball one from Block. It's 1-1. Of course, there was all the talk during the offseason about the Dodgers going after Brian Dozier in Minnesota in second. But word trickled down that the asking price was astronomically high. And the Dodgers able to get a guy in Logan Forsythe straight up for Jose De Leon, who was a highly touted pitching prospect, but a prospect. And not only did they get a guy that fills a need at second, but it fills a need as far as hitting left-handed pitching. He's always done that. And he projects to be the Dodgers' leadoff man at another need. Peterson down on strikes, and quickly 2 out in the third.
Whenever those trades are made, really both sides want the other side to get a good part of the deal. They don't want to feel like, oh, we've got ripped off, or hey, we didn't get the right deal. They root for both players to be successful on both sides of the equation.
I think that's especially true when it's the Dodgers and the Rays teaming up too, with the pass that those front offices have. Andrew Friedman obviously coming from Tampa Bay. There's ball one on Puig. Got a lot of deals over the last few years between those franchises. In fact, the very first deal, here's a trivia question for you, that Andrew Friedman did was for Adam Liberatore from Tampa Bay after he became the Dodgers GM. Puig struck out his first time. Good spot here on 2-0. And takes a little bit inside. Big bouncer to short. Gordon Beckham throws low, and it gets by Belt. So Puig reaches on the throwing air to keep this third inning going.
Yasiel swinging 3-0 here in spring training, just tops this ball, but I really watched with the fact that in 15 he had 2 left hamstring pulls, last year a right hamstring pull. How's he running down the line? And he was running very well.
And don't you feel for a guy who you know is on the fringes of the roster, seeing mistakes in spring? I know I do. Gordon Beckham doesn't have a lot of room for error, but makes one there. Hernandez, strike one.
There's so many different backstories in spring training of guys that are veterans that are on the club, and they're just trying to get in shape, to the veteran that's trying to make the club and hang on and make them tear the jersey off before you have to retire. keep earning it, and then the kids in the middle that are trying to impress, that are getting an opportunity first and foremost to play against big league talent and see that the game doesn't speed up and they have enough talent to play with them. A lot of value in last year's spring training for the Dodgers with the big club and Dave Roberts and the coaching staff and the veteran players getting to know the younger players, because that paid off as everybody started to get hurt and the younger players came up to the big leaguers. They knew who they were and they were comfortable walking into the locker room. And that was one of the great things that Dave Roberts and the staff did, is to make those young guys comfortable enough to be themselves when they arrived in the big leagues to perform. Because feeling comfortable with your teammates and management around you and feeling like they're pulling for you is a big part of the equation.
2-2 on Kike.
55 guys last year played for the Dodgers.
You're not going to forget that number, right? You have no excuses.
No excuse.
Big 55. That tied a franchise record, which was set the year before for number of players used. Puig takes off on a ground ball to second. And Tomlinson throws Hernandez out to put it into the top of the third. Out of the bottom half with the sun having set here in Scottsdale under the lights, Dodgers and Giants. Orel Hershiser back in uniform as a guest instructor at spring training this year, an alumni instructor, sharing some of his expertise. This is obviously before the hamstring pull because he's still moving okay. What happened, man?
I was demonstrating something for someone, and all of a sudden Eric Gagne was behind me, and as I slipped a little bit, he goes, "I heard that," and he did. It popped pretty good.
Eduardo Nunez taking a strike.
I've never pulled a hamstring in my life until all of a sudden I'm an alumni instructor.
And it was reported on Twitter and everything as if it was like a baseball injury. Ken Gurnick, the Dodgers.com writer, wrote Orel Hershiser, guest instructor, has pulled a hamstring. Like it was breaking news.
It's the most famous hamstring by an alumni instructor. It should have its own Facebook page.
Yeah, wow. Maybe somebody's going to make a Facebook page for your hamstring now.
Yeah, I don't know.
How was it, though? I mean, how was it being involved in that role? I know you've talked plenty about how impactful a lot of the guys that came back and helped you were in your career, but now being able to give back in that way.
Well, understanding spring training from a coaching side, because of 3.5 years as the Texas Ranger pitching coach, it was real easy. And then also knowing my great friend and really catch buddy and teammate Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, and as successful as he's been as a pitching coach, to have him nice enough to invite me and trust me with the guys So that has been a blessing. Up every morning at 6 a.m. Rick picks me up in the circular driveway at the Residence Inn, and I have a coffee with a sprinkle of Splenda ready for him for my ride to the park. It's kind of like my fare. And then we hustle on into the ballpark, and boy, these guys work hard.
Nunez shoots the base hit to right to open the fourth, open the bottom of the third.
We don't beat Dave Roberts to the ballpark. We don't beat Turner Ward to the ballpark, but we're right there when everybody is starting to come into the Camelback Ranch and get ready. Players are already lifting weights and doing cardio, and the trainers have already been there probably for an hour getting ready for all their treatment for the guys they need to work on. And these guys put a full day in, and especially now, a full day plus a night game.
You sure beat the old Orel as far as getting out of bed.
That's true.
You're known for waking up in time for lunch.
It's the way you lose weight. There's only time for 2 meals.
Right. I think they call that intermittent fasting, except most people don't intermittent hibernate. The runner got hung up between first and second. Nunez is going to be tagged out by Bellinger as he stumbled after that secondary lead.
It looked like he blew a tire down there, Nunez did. I don't know if he was stealing. Let's see if he's stealing. Yeah, he's looking to get a good jump, and he just falls right down on his face. In the baseball dugout right now, somebody's yelling sniper. Bellinger, this one's just going to be easy.
Did you go down when you hurt your hamstring?
Yeah, yep. I went down, but I didn't stay down very long. I didn't want anybody to see it.
Right. 1-1 on Pence.
You're wearing those coaching shoes, and I had running shoes on, so you go down and you're showing the leverage off the mound and how to get down the hill and put pressure into that front leg so you can leverage the baseball. And without spikes, you have a tendency to slip.
I heard. Yeah. Ravens 1-1. Blows it by him. 1-2.
I was really glad, like 4 days later, it got black and blue, so it actually proved that I pulled it.
Yeah, I don't want to know how you proved that to anybody, but
right.
You just had to take your word, hopefully.
That's true. It is a locker room. There are times when your legs are exposed.
1-2 on Pence. With one gone here in the third. Raven breaks off a slider that had him fooled, but just missed, and the count evens at 2-2. We talked about all the things Josh Raven went through last year, and that came after about 9 seasons in the minors before he made his major league debut. When you combine that with what he went through, he said last year he wanted to destroy everyone who stepped in the box. He said that he had no other way to take out his anger and frustration from what was such a difficult path last year on the heels of a difficult pro career. He was drafted by the Reds. He's a local boy out of Chatsworth High School, but drafted by the Reds in 06. Signed a minor league deal with the Dodgers a few years back. Full count on Pence. Grew up coming to Dodger games. Played in Dodger Stadium in a high school tournament. And he said an even bigger moment for him than his major league debut was his Dodger Stadium debut. To stand on that mound for the first time in Dodger blue. Pence making him work. We'll do the 3-2 again.
You know, sometimes the passion for the game and the love for the game and how much you'll miss it is kind of underneath the surface of your emotions, and it takes some disappointment, an injury, a comeback to really bring that to the surface. And when you pitch out of the bullpen, a lot of these guys, especially the successful ones, they wear their emotions on their sleeve. That whole I want to destroy anybody who steps in a box attitude.
Pence with a good at-bat. Ultimately earns a walk and a man on against Raven with one gone. You can see the best baseball players in the world chasing a world championship for their country when the WBC returns to Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium March 20th through the 22nd. Go to Dodgers.com/WBC for information to purchase tickets today. Should be fun to follow that event. Several Dodgers are involved. I think Team Mexico would be the team with the most representatives for the Dodgers. Adrian Gonzalez, Sergio Romo, and on the minor league side, Alex Verdugo, also headed to Team Mexico. Rob Sagadin, Team Italy, I believe.
Yes.
Belt slices one to left center. That's a base hit. Off 2 bounces, Peterson has it. Guns for third. Offline, but pulled down late. And safely is Pence on a base hit from Belt.
Walks hurt, especially when the next guy hops on the first fastball and hits it a little bit in the gap. Josh Peterson does a nice job charging this ball. Pretty accurate throw. Just a nice hustle and turn by Hunter Pence. Finds his way into the corner of the bag.
Good sign for Giants fans, seeing Pence running well. Popping up after a slide with the injury issues he's had. Got the corners, 1 out for Aaron Hill. Breaking ball, strike 1. The Giants last year, the best team in baseball in the first half. 57-33. The 4th worst team in the majors in the second half, 30-42. They were still able to make the postseason, winning the wild card game, beating the Mets. But remarkable to go from that to that. A lot of it was injuries. A lot of it, though, was the bullpen. They blew 32 saves and 75 chances. Ravens 1-1. Popped up into short center. Long run for Peterson, who's under it for out number 2. They put that palm up for a moment as if to say, I can't quite find it, and ultimately did to get Hill.
Josh Raven gives you an awful lot of confidence that he can get out of his own jams or other people because of the great velocity and breaking ball. So gets nicked up a little bit, first and third, 1 out, but even facing that batter, you think he's got a chance to strike him out, pop him up, get a double play. Dave Roberts has seen enough.
So Raven comes out with 2 gone here in the third and a 3-2 game. We'll let you know who's replacing him when we come back. This is Madison Youngener, pronounced Youngener, first season in the Dodgers organization. Major league debut with the Braves last year in 8 appearances. And the Dodgers signed him this offseason. You've had a chance to work with him some as instructor this spring.
Young man has a lot of passion for the game, a lot of aptitude. He's working on some leverage and different things with Rick Honeycutt. He's got a little funk in his delivery that's going to give the hitters a little problem in picking up the ball. He gets that glove up there in a way that it's really hard to see where it's going to come from when he brings the throwing arm through. So we have high hopes for this young man.
Born in Augusta, but grew up in Tampa. And was drafted out of high school there by the Red Sox. That's where he spent his first 6 pro seasons. Jarrett Parker unloads and greets Youngener with a home run.
Both lineups here in spring sitting on first pitch fastball and letting the bat go. That ball tailing fastball slightly up out and away, but an even better swing was put on that pitch.
So we'll try to settle it now against Gordon Beckham, who takes a strike. And that cannot be a good feeling. You're trying to make an impression on your new club. And the first pitch that you throw is hit for a long home run by Parker. 1 ball and 1 strike on Beckham.
The opportunity presented itself for me to switch teams. All of a sudden I wasn't going to be a Dodger anymore. It became a Cleveland Indian. I'll tell you what, even with all that experience, putting on a different color uniform for a different organization can bring back the butterflies.
So Youngener here in his 2nd outing of the spring. There's a nice spot there, 2-2. Couple of Georgia boys facing off here. Beckham pulls it softly to third. Culberson, an in-between bounce, gets him. And so the inning comes to a close, but the Giants add 3 to take their first lead of the night. .53 Giants, top of the 4th inning. Moments ago, Alana Rizzo.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Joined now by Scott Kazmir. Scott, I know you've been working through some mechanical issues. You had the ability to put it to the test today in a live game situation against the opposition. How would you assess your outing?
The first inning went well. You know, I felt like I had the stuff I was working on in my hands and just making sure everything's just nice and smooth and together with my body. That was there the first inning, and then slowly kind of got out of it as the inning went on the 2nd inning. So, you know, so far I kind of got through it. So, you know, it's just a matter of getting those reps. And I feel like it was a good sign going into the bullpen. Everything was working right. Was able to hit all my spots with all my pitches and carry that into the first inning. So, you know, that's a plus. But, you know, still a lot of work to do. You know, I still want to be able to kind of have that consistency where I'm able to really kind of throw at max effort, and it's just not there yet. But you know, it's a long way to go. But you know, definitely something I could keep moving forward.
4 weeks to go, in fact. And, you know, you had been working on the mechanical issues, as I had mentioned, but 36 pitches in this outing. Did it feel that way?
It didn't at all. You know, I think that kind of goes from me not really being able to let it go max effort just because of, you know, like I said, the stuff that I'm working on. But it's getting better and better. The bullpen, it really, some things kind of clicked, and it's just a matter of getting those reps to really feel comfortable out there and do it consistency.
The fact that it's getting better is encouraging. How difficult is it to make that transition from what you've been working on in side sessions or the bullpen or what have you, simulated games, to an actual game situation, to make everything work the way you want it to?
I mean, it's a little bit of anxiety going into it, you know, knowing that, you know, you don't feel as comfortable, not even close to really what you are capable of doing, but I've been through this before, so it's a little bit easier knowing that you've already been through it and know what it takes and know the steps that you need to take to get to where you need to be. And, you know, we're just making progress.
If anybody knows how to reinvent himself, it's you. Finally, are you on schedule to pitch to make that start the next 5 days, or are you on a different type of program?
Should be on the same program, so should be ready.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, sir.
All right, great work, Alana. Thanks for Scott's time. In the 4th inning, as Ty Block got Cody Bellinger looking, then got Bobby Wilson to ground out. And up comes Charlie Culberson. What were your thoughts, Orel, on Kazmir's outing?
You know, I thought exactly the way he described it, that he looked like he had really good rhythm in that first inning, what he brought out of the bullpen, and I was glad to hear what he said, that he warmed up really well. He just didn't find it when he stepped into the game, but as he talked about, just wasn't there in the 2nd inning. And what happens a lot of times, and your energy level in midseason or as you break camp here is going to be changing around the 4th, 5th inning, where you kind of hit a hump in your energy level and you got to find a new rhythm. Well, here in spring, you can have to find your new rhythm, or that leg strength is changing, your arm strength is changing right out of the bullpen or the 1st or 2nd inning, and that's what it's part of getting in shape. And maybe when he came out after resting after the 1st inning, just couldn't find that rhythm, and maybe his body felt a little different.
Culberson in the air to right. Hunter Pence is there, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4th inning for Ty Block. On to the bottom half in Scottsdale with the Giants up 5-3. You're probably sick of hearing this, but last year the Dodgers, over the last 30 years, had the most men on the DL of any team, 28. That included a few starting pitchers who are trying to battle back this season for rotation spots. It included several outfielders, most notably Andre Ethier going down in spring training, then Thompson with the back, Van Slyke with the wrist. 28 in all on the DL in 2016, which tied him, or it passed Boston in 2012 for the most guys on the disabled list in a single season. Remarkably, to show you what the Dodgers overcame, that Boston team lost 93 games when they dealt with that. It was the most that Boston had lost in the last half century. which makes the Dodgers winning 91 games and the division title through all those injury issues that much more remarkable. Madison Youngener, his second inning of work, and it's 2-1 on Kelby Tomlinson.
Andre Ethier came into camp, looked fantastic, got his first spring bomb yesterday. Nice home run, and Scott Van Slyke has really looked good here, barreling up an awful lot of balls and came in with in remarkable shape. Trace Thompson has always had the chiseled body and really nice frame and strength, and he looks really good too. He's getting closer and closer to more baseball activities. I say one of the bigger surprises has been the health and free and easy delivery of Hyun-Jin Ryu. Everyone has been very impressed with the way his body looks and his delivery looks, and no remnants of any kind of pain or moving in a way that he throw one pitch or wince or anything. He looks free and easy and happy to be here and is continuing to progress and get healthier and healthier.
Youngener painted the outside corner for a strikeout to Kelby Tomlinson, and now Fedorovich out of the 9th spot takes strike one. Yeah, so you've been around closely, as we've talked about, but you know, the word is that Ryu, it's legit right now, that he's again looking somewhat how he did when he was one of the better starters in the National League his 2 healthy seasons.
He's had such a great feel for the baseball over the years. We remember him coming off the DL and not even needing a rehab start and coming out and dotting right away. He's such great rhythm and eye-hand coordination, and that's what we're seeing right now from him.
Nice breaking ball, 1-2.
The key for Ryu is just building up that endurance, building up the confidence to continue to kind of extend and cut the fastball loose. He's always been a guy that can pitch around 86 to 88 miles an hour, but in a jam can turn it up to 94.
Got him swinging. Back-to-back Ks to open this inning for Youngener.
And a lot of times for the big league veterans, and you really don't see that jump in velocity, those 2-3 extra miles an hour, until you get to the triple-decker stadiums where you got to arch your back and look your neck up to see the sky, because that all of a sudden in that environment they get the adrenaline back. They get a little bit of those butterflies and goosebumps, and they got that extra bit of energy then takes them to another level, and they can stay there throughout the season.
Denard Span, 3rd trip through the Giants order. And Youngener bounces it in there for a ball. Span is 0 for 2. Grounded to second and popped out to second. Kind of get the feeling that the Dodgers are owed a relatively healthy season, right? As things, karma tends to even out. Does it though? 2-0.
I never thought it did when someone got a broken bat blooper off of me.
All right.
I don't remember the line outs.
Youngener's 2-0, and Span pulls it softly to first for Bellinger. That's a 1-2-3 inning for Youngener. Bounce back after the home run from Jared Parker on the first pitch that he threw. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Carl's Jr., the $4 real deal. 4 items for just $4 at Carl's Jr. Back here in Arizona, that's back over at Camelback Ranch. Here we are in Scottsdale. George Cantos comes into the game, one of the more veteran pieces of the bullpen at this point, as San Francisco's turned things over back there so much. And on to face 9-1-2 in the Dodger order. Cantos, one of the lone holdovers in the bullpen. They went out and got Mark Melanson, but all the issues they had last year, Romo and Lopez and Casilla, all gone. It was the bullpen that was kind of the common strand through those championship teams in 10 and 12 and 14. Quietly one of the best in baseball that whole time. All those guys were a part of it. But a new era down there in the Giants' pen here in 2017. Ramos tripled his first time, brought home a pair one day after he hit a home run. 24-year-old from Puerto Rico takes ball 1. Look back at that triple to our Carl's cam from Ramos. He's doing his best to catch the attention of the Dodgers brass. Every spring you've got somebody who you haven't heard of to start spring training with. It's a monster spring and sometimes winds up making the team.
Sure do. Remember when Justin Turner was battling D. Gordon, and D. Gordon won the job, but Justin Turner turned it around and he had a good spring. He was kind of a cast off from the Mets, and here we are the whole offseason hoping he returns home to Dodger Blue, and he did. You just never know what's going to develop in spring from one of the young guys or even a veteran that's kind of been tossed around.
Chase Utley comes up for the 3rd time today. He's grounded out to first both times. There is no suspense about his roster spot. 38 years old in his 15th major league season coming up here. You mentioned Corey Seager being particularly happy about him coming back. Apparently Utley had texted Seager a few weeks before the deal was done, so after they had brought Forsythe in, and said, you better watch out when I come into second next year, thinking that he was going to be on another team. And then a few days later texted him, you're not going to have to worry about it. I'll see you soon.
Oh,
and that's how
huge smile.
Chase let Seager know that he'd be coming back in Dodger Blue.
I'll tell you, there's nothing about Chase Utley that does not have a purpose. Even as a 38-year-old that knows his role is diminishing. Every moment of the day, he is moving around the locker room, the weight room, the field with a purpose. And that rubs off on everybody.
You can go down the list of guys that are on this roster or on the coaching staff that have gone public saying glowing things about Chase. Not just good things, but Dave Roberts has called him his favorite player of all time. Tim Hires, who's been in the game for quite a while, the assistant hitting coach, said he's the most unbelievable guy he's ever met in baseball. Here's a pop-up, foul ground that will reach the seats, and it's 2-1. And then, of course, Clayton Kershaw last year said, if I ever have a son, and he said that last spring. He's now had a son, Charlie Kershaw, but he said, if I ever have a son, I'm going to tell him, watch the way Chase plays the game. That's the way you want to play. Too many higher compliments.
It's a constant. It is not eyewash, and it always has a purpose, and it's always about the game, and it's anything from figuring out how to make a play better when they're drawing it up on the chalkboard and offering suggestions, to taking it into the game and doing the last little detail that everybody would think of, bluffing a double play on a pop-up. knowing the runners and who has the speed and which base to throw to, or if you're going to go back door to third in a first and second situation where he's getting the turn at second, but he knows they can't get the out at first, so he goes back door to third. On his off days in the bench, when he's resting, just sitting with the younger players or anybody, teaching them the game.
3-2.
It's not for show. It's not, hey, look what I know. It's so subtle and with such grace.
Three times up there tonight, and he's worked it full all 3 times.
And you know he knows his job right here. If Ramos is going, Chase knows if to strike, he needs to put it in play, and even more specifically on the ground.
And he earns the walk. There's somebody just below us who is continually there shouting, "Show us how you grounded in double plays, Chase." And I don't know if that's just irony, but last year Chase Utley didn't ground into a single double play. It was only the 8th time since 1939 that had been accomplished with a full season. No double plays grounded into. It's the first time since 1997. Craig Biggio did it. 8 players since 1939, a full season without grounding into a double play. Chase Utley's 2016, one of them. There's a strike on Grandal.
Where did you dig that one up?
I don't remember.
That's a lot of off-season prep.
It's an 0-1. It rides outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Grandal. I think it might have been a Fangraphs research article late last season, before it had officially been done, where they were saying, you know, the division's wrapped up, so there's not a ton to watch for as far as outcomes of the game, but watch for this right until his final AB. 1-2. Because when you're chasing a number, right, when you get to the final day of the season, it becomes clear if you're not going to, you know, reach a home run mark or an RBI mark. But when it's something like that where you're trying to avoid something happening that can happen in any AB, you can take that right until the final at-bat of the season.
Well, as long as there's somebody on first or first and second, or bases loaded.
Right.
If his at-bats were nobody on or man on second, it's going to be tough to ground into that double play.
Our producer, Mike Levy, just choked in our ear and said, he's begging, please don't get on in front of me. That last AB. Contos to Grandal with a 1-2. And he struck him out. Well, the first out of the 5th. Contos out of Northwestern. He's going to be enjoying hoop season. Northwestern on the verge of going to the NCAA tournament for the first time ever. With 2 on and 1 out, Peterson looks at a changeup that fades away for ball 1.
The game looks slower for Jock. I think that's a very good sign. Not as fidgety in the box, a little more mature, settling in on what stance he wants and where he wants his hands. A lot of experimentation and a lot of barrel awareness for him over the last couple of years to really start to grow into being the hitter he wants to be. Got a chance to even have another breakout year this year.
And he drills one to deep right field, a no-doubt missile off of the bat of Jock Peterson. And with one loud swing, he puts the Dodgers back in front.
The bat speed is just as fast as it was in the last couple years, but the rhythm in the box, how connected to the ground he is, and the swing just seems a little bit more compact on the backside and then full extension up front. You just see how tight he is as he winds up. And then as he gets going forward, two hands stay on the bat, and he accelerates through that ball and drives it out of here.
His first hit of the spring is a home run. And just like that, 6-5 Dodgers. We tried to check his swing, and that thing wound up catching his hand. So strike one, and the big thing is making sure that he's okay, and it appears he is.
This is a stretch for a comparison, but Jock Peterson's ability to hit the ball that hard and then sometimes look so bad on other swings.
Puig softly hit the third. Aaron Hill throws low, and it's dug out by Bell.
It reminds me a little bit of Kirk Gibson. And why I say that is Kirk could look really bad on certain swings at times, and he'd come back to the bench and he'd say, he got me there, but I'm going to get him once tonight, and it's going to really hurt. So you get a guy that can go 1 for 4, and if the one is like this one, it doesn't matter if they hit 250. The one hit really hurts them.
Base is empty and 2 gone, and it's Hernandez. And with Peterson, you know, obviously the home runs make up a portion of the value, but you mentioned if he hits 250, you know, so on. But with him, it's the on-base percentage that really is what makes him a unique guy, because he has the ability to hit the ball like that, but he also consistently has a high on-base percentage. It's a unique combination.
Right there, they're looking at some pictures on an iPhone of Jock's swing. Probably that's Sean Wooten, the AAA hitting instructor. A lot of these young guys, as they come up from the minors, they still trust some of the abilities of their coaches below and have a great relationship still, even though they're playing in the big leagues.
Hernandez made quick work of by Contos, and that finishes the inning. But Jock Peterson unloads on his first home run of the Cactus League schedule and puts the Dodgers right back on top.
Chevy is
2017 Dodgers season tickets are available now for a limited time only. Enjoy exclusive benefits and great savings starting as low as $13 a game. You have greater flexibility too while enjoying exciting matchups, promo nights by purchasing a mini plan. Dodgers.com/season tickets. Packed house here tonight in Scottsdale. Joe Davis, Or Hershiser, and Alana Rizzo. Our first broadcast of the season as a crew. And looking forward to many more. Ralston Cash comes in to pitch for the Dodgers, facing Eduardo Nunez. 2, 3, and 4 in the San Francisco order. Cash misses outside, ball 1. Split last season between AA and AAA. And put up good numbers. Pop back over our heads. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, for me, Ralston Cash is a young fellow that has a tremendous arm, tremendous stuff. He's trying to cut down on his walks. About 1 every other inning, which is a little too high, especially coming out of the bullpen. But he's done some fine work this spring. Really starting to get the ball more in the strike zone. And with his velocity and his movement, if he can do that and flip the counts like Rick Honeycutt's got him flipping this count right here, pitching in a 1-2 count's a lot better than pitching in a 2-1 or 3-0 count. All of a sudden you turn hitters into people that are just trying to not strike out compared to drive the ball.
Nunez chops it to short. There's Kike. 1 out. Cash out of Georgia. Cornelia, Georgia. It's where Ty Cobb retired. Born not too far from there. Hunter Pence comes up with 1 gone in the bottom of the 5th in a 1-run game. Hunter Pence seems like a guy who would appreciate a good Ty Cobb story. He's a huge Babe Ruth guy, Hunter Pence is. He's read all the Babe Ruth guy books that he can get his hands on. He's a well-studied guy across the board, Pence is. Eclectic set of interests. Only thing the Giants are interested in this year, though, is him staying healthy. They're a different team when he's in the lineup. For the last 2 years, they've had to go long stretches without him.
Not only physically, as far as a player and a great right fielder, but emotionally. A lot of times he is the spark in the dugout that can get them going, that keeps believing they can come back and step on the neck of an opponent when they get going and get ahead. That he's the one that just keeps on pressing.
And he strikes out on a high fastball. Ralston Cash burning 1 by Pence. 2 up and 2 down.
It's like the spray pattern here from Ralston, everything around the plate, so the batters know that he can throw strikes. So when he throws one close, he gets the bat started and gets them to chase a pitch like that up the ladder. If you're all over the place and you don't have the count in your favor, you're not going to get the hitter to offer at that one.
Trying to work a 1-2-3 inning. The cleanup man Brandon Belt 1 for 2 today. Looks at ball 1. Ralston Cash, 2nd-round pick of the Dodgers in 2010. Out of high school. Went to Lakeview Academy in his hometown of Cornelia. Just had your typical climb up through the minor league system, splitting last year in AA and AAA. Pours in a strike, 3-1 on Belt.
Get those first 2 outs, you feel really good about yourself, but you're not in the dugout yet. You're going to have to come back on Belt here.
And over the inside edge, 3-2. With a mustache like that and a name like that, Ralston Cash, it's got to boost your stock some.
Coming out of the pen, sometimes you go with a little different look. You don't want the hitter to really understand your personality. More of a name and a mustache for a Western.
And he loses Belt, who walks here with 2 out.
A little bit of a cardinal sin right there. Got a chance to have a quick inning and walk him right here. You got to get right back in the strike zone. Maybe you'll have a little more confidence to pour it in against this righty.
Aaron Hill's 0 for 1. He walked and scored his first time, then flied out to center. Major League veteran. I wonder how many times Aaron Hill, or when the last time Aaron Hill wore a number like 94 was. First time in a while he's had to battle for a roster spot. Former All-Star with the Blue Jays. It's in the division for quite a while with the Diamondbacks as well. Flies this one to right. Long run for Puig, won't get there. 0-2. Split last year between Milwaukee and Boston. Part of the stockpile of backup infielder options the Giants went out and got this offseason.
In a period which would be considered his prime, he was just Mr. Reliable. The guy that executed every part of the game, especially right here at the plate with the bat. You get a man on third, less than 2 outs. You get a guy on second, you need him moved over to third. Aaron Hill was somebody that you knew was going to get the job done.
A 1-2. It's a little bit up and evens the count. Hill has worn number 2 for most of his career. First time he'd worn anything else was last year. He wore 9 with the Brewers.
Big difference between throwing a 2-2 pitch with 2 out and a man on first and a 3-2 pitch. Now the runner gets a chance. The double now possibly scores a run. That's why that 2-2 pitch should have been an action pitch on the plate.
Painted over the outside corner, strike 3. And a nice inning of work for Ralston Cash, who strikes out Hunter Pence and strikes out Aaron Hill. In Scottsdale, on the strength of a Jock Peterson 3-run homer, the Dodgers lead the Giants 6-5. And Roberto Gomez comes into the game for San Francisco. Ready to face off with the bottom part of the Dodger order, and plenty of changes around him. This is the part of the game where Orel gives up on keeping score.
Don't give away my secret from last year. You totally exposed.
Am I right, though, if we reach that stage?
As any starting pitcher in spring training, you try and build up. You don't go for the complete game right away. The beginning of spring, you start with 1 or 2 innings, and then you build up. I've made it to 5.
Okay.
But I am kind of shutting it down. You're in charge of keeping score.
All right. Cody Bellinger. Top prospect in the Dodgers system. And he's playing in his hometown. Only 21 years old, a first baseman. Considered one of the top power prospects in baseball. And it's not just all power. He's also known as a slick fielding first baseman. Waits on an 0-2 from Gomez, which misses inside. Ball 1.
It's easy to see the power. One of the things I've been most impressed with is his ability to really identify strikes and balls. He has had an outstanding eye so far this spring.
Hard hit. Michael Morse has it and flips it to Gomez to get Bellinger. Bobby Wilson for the 3rd time tonight. Singleton scored his first time, then grounded out to short. Two and 0.
See Bobby cutting it loose on this right here. 2-0 pitch, spring training, working on some new mechanics of his swing and concentrating on getting a fastball out over the plate. He gets a little breaking ball, a little wrinkle.
Been trying to dig up where Roberto Gomez has been. Where in the world is Roberto Gomez? He hadn't pitched since 2014. And that was in the Rays system. I think I know somebody who can answer that. Andrew Friedman going to join us shortly. And I bet Andrew has an idea where Roberto Gomez was the last couple of years. Would have been signed by the Rays under Andrew Friedman's watch. It's the part of the game where you stop scoring, and it's the part of the game where I start Googling hard. Trying to get to the bottom parts of the roster. Gomez strikes out Bobby Wilson. 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th. Stay tuned after the post-game show tonight for an all-new episode of Connected With, as Kershaw, Jansen, and others sit down to discuss the upcoming season. Don't miss Connected With the pitching staff tonight at 9. Here on Sportsnet LA. Strike 1 from Gomez.
Charlie got kidded today by a few guys. Asked him if the home run that ended the Dodgers season and Vince Scully's career was the biggest hit of his career. He kind of just paused and like he was trying to think of another one.
Yeah.
The guy's just, come on, let's go.
He said he doesn't even remember touching the bases on that home run. Felt like he floated. And even to this day, when he goes back and watches the video of it, which I wouldn't blame him if he did every night, he said he feels like he's watching somebody else.
Daddy, can we have another bedtime story?
Yeah, is that all you got? Gomez brings him a 2-1, and Culberson attacks it but gets it off the end of the bat. And in right field, it's Slater to put it away and bring the 6th inning to a close. Andrew Friedman joins us on the other side of this break. Jock Peterson's 3-run homer has the Dodgers in front 6-5 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Dodgers president of baseball operations, Andrew Friedman, literally squeezes into fit with us. I thought you were going to have to choose a lap to sit down. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than this as far as spring training time. Dodgers and Giants under the lights.
I agree. There's a good energy in the ballpark, and nothing really kind of kicks it off like playing against the Giants.
Where have you been watching the game from?
Down right behind the plate.
Oh, right.
Patrick Schuster is the new pitcher. Why don't we let Andrew introduce Patrick Schuster? What should we know about him?
He is a left-on-left guy. He's a dominant kind of left-on-left guy with a really good slider. Got up to the big leagues last year. Was someone that we targeted this offseason as a minor league free agent. You know, we have a lot of really talented left-handed relievers, but that lefty killer is something we don't necessarily have. So he was a big target for us, and we're happy to have him.
And he gets a lefty that homered his last time in Jarrett Parker. Delivers strike one. Before we get into some of the details of the offseason, the big picture theme in the offseason is guys taking less money from other places to stay in Dodger blue. What is that a reflection of?
You know, I think it's really significant. It's one of those things that coming in here a couple years ago, you know, one of the most overarching goals was to change the culture. And part of changing the culture is really creating a destination spot where players from other teams want to come and the players that are in your organization want to stay. And I think last year was a very significant growth on that front, and something that we're going to continue to nurture. And I think it's something that will allow us to sustain success for a long time.
I've been very impressed going over to the minor league side, even what Gabe Kapler does over there, and Clayton with what they do as far as getting and growing young men, not just concentrating strictly on baseball, but the character of the individual and the work ethic and how they go about their business over there.
Yeah, I think in the 2.5 years I've been here, I think that's the thing that I think I'm most proud of. I think what's going on the player development side, you know, what Cap and Clayton, we have tremendous guys up and down our system.
Parker turns this one around to center and a long run for out number 1 with Verdugo tracking it down.
And they do such a tremendous job on the development front in terms of on field. It's very specific and individualized for each guy, and I think they do a great job of, you know, kind of attacking the goals and weaker areas and to make them a more
I thought we
well-rounded.
saw the benefit of that with all the guys that came up and the character they showed, and they didn't melt down under the pressure. They were ready to perform right away.
No question. Yeah, we had so many different guys, as everybody knows, including 3 who weren't even in Major League Camp last year, come up and play a hand. So, yeah, I think they've done a tremendous job of really helping to grow them through the system and do everything they can to simulate the big leagues without actually being able to, and getting them up here and just making them that much more comfortable.
2-0 on Gordon Beckham. Specifically now some of the guys that you brought in. Let's start with Logan Forsythe.
He's a gamer. He's a guy that's going to fit in really well with that kind of grinder mentality, the dynamic that we really took on last year. Great competitor, great teammate, can really handle left-handed pitching, and quality at bat against righties as well. Really good base runner. You know, this speaks volumes about Forsythe. He, the first day he arrived in spring training, I happened to be talking to Dave Roberts in his office, and Logan came in, said hello, and said, hey, I was thinking, you know, with Chase here, does it make sense for me to go kick out to the outfield some? You know, for you, Dave, you know, mid-game, if you want to do a double switch, would that be helpful?
First day.
Yep, that's right when he got there. So it's just a microcosm of what he's all about. He just wants to win.
How much of your interest in bringing him on was the background that several guys in the organization, like Dave Roberts in San Diego, had seen him on a first-hand, everyday basis?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was significant. You know, I traded for him as well, and got to spend a year with him. So we had a number of guys that had some experience with him, which is great because we do as much digging as you possibly can on a guy's makeup, but it's not like being with a guy for a year or for years to really see how they prepare, how they compete. You know, there's just a different level when you've actually been around a guy.
How about Sergio Romo, over from the dark side, 9 years with the Giants and now a Dodger?
Tell you what, his energy is infectious. He is smiling through the clubhouse every day, bringing a lot of life and energy. You know, the first game we played on Saturday, I guess, against the White Sox, he wasn't pitching, and he stayed all 9 innings in the bullpen and just hung out with our guys and just being a really good teammate.
I got to verify some of your digging on him, of course, because we're around all the Giant personnel here. Everybody from Bruce Bochy to the broadcast crew, Kruko and Kuiper, they rave about him and his makeup.
Yeah, and I can see it. You know, watching him from the other side, I didn't appreciate the makeup. I didn't appreciate how good of a teammate he was. You know, for me, he just annoyed me.
Yeah,
so
right,
it was hard to know that. But as we were digging, and I told him after we signed him, I said, you would blush if you heard some of the things that people say about you, your teammates and guys that you've come across.
Kelby Tomlinson takes outside. One of the big topics this spring is Julio Urias and what the team will decide to do to begin the season with him. What can you fill us in on where you're at in the decision process right now?
Yeah, it's challenging, but it's a high-class problem. It's a great problem to have. You know, it's one of those things that he's just not at a point where he can go make 33 starts, 200-plus innings, and then hopefully, you know, the month of October. So we have to be mindful of that, and whether that's on the front end, whether it's some point in the middle, we just want to make sure that, assuming that we're in position in October, that he has innings left, while not being too flippant about getting to October. So it's a balancing act and something that we're very mindful of and actively talking through.
Andrew, appreciate you taking the time to visit with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Double play gets you off the hook a little quicker than we wanted. We'll have plenty of more opportunities moving forward.
Look forward to it.
Dodgers 6, Giants 5. Joe Davis, Orel Hershiser, and Alana Rizzo. Steven Okert comes into the game. They're hoping that he can be a piece to step forward in this new bullpen, with so many veteran pieces having moved on.
They like his stuff, like the velocity, the movement, the arm is live, kind of a low 3/4 lefty that kind of slings it at you, slow body and then a quick arm. Doesn't look too easy to pick up if you're a left-handed hitter.
Faces Brett Eibner, who's in his first year in the Dodgers system, former Kansas City Royal. Spent some time with Oakland as well last year. Tried to lay off. Couldn't. 1-2. Okert, a Southern California native. He's from Riverside. And then went on to play his college ball at Oklahoma. Really good baseball program there in Norman. 4th round pick of the Giants out of OU. 2-2. Big league debut last season after 4+ years in the minors. We saw the numbers a moment ago, but solid enough where they're excited about him entering this year. Full count on Eibner starting the 7th.
Here, every once in a while on a broadcast, we'll give the weather. I can let you know that a friend of mine is watching us in Maui, and it's raining there. He's in a hotel. Watching the game.
How about that?
A really good baseball fan.
Eibner takes inside and earns the walk to start the 7th. Moments ago, Alana Rizzo visited with Jock Peterson.
Jock, first hit of the spring was a big one, a line drive home run, a 3-run shot. What was the pitch? And I would imagine that feels pretty good to be able to contribute in that way.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get a hit there for a while. No, I've been feeling really good at the plate, and just had to slow it down, and get a good pitch. Runners on base. Good pitcher on the mound. Had to wait for him to come to me.
When we sat down, you had said that you had worked on cleaning up your bat path. Explain what that means.
Just being in the zone longer, so I'm able to hit more pitches and more locations. So, yeah.
Sean Wooten is the guy you have a tremendous amount of respect for. He's going to be around the big league club a bit more this year. What has he taught you more about anything as far as hitting is concerned?
I think just being able to make some adjustments on my own. I think that's what Corey does really well, is JT does really well, able to go in the film, the room, and break down what they need to do to be successful.
Apart from one game this spring, you guys have put a lot of hits together, a lot of quality at bats, and scored some runs. Just to speak to the collective ability for you guys to be able to score.
Yeah, they're really great at bats. I mean, I think that second inning, Charlie, Ramos, Bobby Wilson, put together some really nice line drives. Just shows what type of approach we have, and able to hit all types of the field.
Appreciate your time, Jock. Thank you
so much.
All right, guys.
I don't know about you, but I couldn't take my eyes off the person trying to inconspicuously back their way up the stairs behind Jock. This one gets by, and in to score is Eibner. After you saw Chris Taylor's single and then run into a bit of a jam with a late stop sign from Woodward. Went back to third. Taylor was on his way to third, wound up getting thrown behind. But the Dodgers add one here on this one pitch.
I did notice the food delivery man or whatever he was delivering. Looked like it was almost on a replay. He was going back up, back up.
Yeah, just rolling the tape back.
Yeah. But Jock was still talking forward.
So that's why I knew. Stetson Alley, the batter here. Formerly the Pirates organization. Alana relays to us that it was every man in the clubhouse, and Jock was really excited about it after he got finished with the interview. I would have been too. Chipotle in the clubhouse, man.
It always tastes better when you have a home run.
Sure. Okert's 1-2. And it gets Alley for the second out. Rob Sagadin. Nobody having a better spring so far than this guy for the Dodgers.
Talk about a body change, too, coming into spring. He is in great shape. Lost some weight. Looks like he's going to be a little quicker. Maybe he'll be able to play a few more positions where you'd have confidence in putting him out there, not just on the corners, but let him play out in the outfield. A couple infield positions.
Rob had a long path to the majors before debuting last season. 7 years in the minors, most of that in the Yankees system. He was knocking on the door, was in AAA with the Yankees, and then they sent him back to AA and considered giving the game up. But he and his wife Robin decided to stick with it a little while longer. The trade to the Dodgers gave him new life prior to last season. And then he made his debut in early August. What a debut it was against David Price and the Red Sox. He set a Dodger record that day by driving in 4 runs in his debut game. Nobody had ever done that in a Dodger uniform. Previous record, 3 RBIs in a debut game from a guy named Packy Rogers in 1938. Sagadin down swinging. Hopefully Rob, the rest of his career goes better than Packy's. Packy had 3 RBIs that first day, 2 the rest of his career. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. And you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices and enjoy almost 300 spring training games. And coming up soon, the World Baseball Classic. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Shea Spitzbarth is the new Dodger pitcher. Went undrafted a couple of years ago out of high school, and now here he is pitching in a major league spring training game. Aramis Garcia, the first batter that he faces. Strike 1. Spitzbarth from Staten Island. Really good numbers for him last year in A-ball with the Loons. Even pitched in 1 game for Oklahoma City. It's a 2-1. He gets it by Garcia to even the count. What a cool opportunity for a guy who just a couple of years ago watched 1,215 players get selected. And he wasn't one of them, but still found a way to climb to this level. And he gets a strikeout of Garcia.
What happens with some of these young men that come over from the minor league side, they get invited into early camp on the minor league side. They do a lot of shagging, but they also do a lot of PFP and getting their arms ready so that they can be what is known as a JIC, just in case. And so 3 or 4 of these young men come over from the minor league side every day, every game, and just in case they can get in a game. They build a reputation on the minor league side that they might have a chance, and they want to expose them to this environment. They know they're not going to have a chance to make the big league club, but the experience then gives them a goal and a bar to set for themselves that maybe I can do this, and they know what they need to work on when they get back down there in the minors to grind away to hopefully make it to the big leagues.
Old friend alert here at the plate. Justin Ruggiano, who the Dodgers drafted a long time ago, and then he bounced around from organization to organization before eventually playing for the Dodgers in 2015. Trying to make the Giants roster. If he does so, it'll be his 8th major league team in 9 major league seasons. And a breaking ball fooled him for strike 3. Shea Spitzbarth back-to-back Ks to open his outing here in a big league game.
Like the makeup, like the fact that he's pouring it in the strike zone. He's not pitching with fear, and boy, can he spin a baseball. That ball had some depth.
Shea Spitzbarth against Ryder Jones. 91 against 83 here in the 7th inning.
There wasn't velocity against exit velocity.
Other than 2, and you're right, Spitzbarth just coming at him.
Your presence on the mound, the way you present yourself with your body language and your aggressiveness can sometimes suffocate a hitter. Like, he is not going to let me up for air. Got thrown all 3 pitches, his fastball, the really tight, hard breaking ball, and there, right there, he attempted a changeup, kind of spiked it into the ground.
Looked like he had struck out the side with that Greg Maddux looking 2-seam.
Murphy behind the plate thought he captured one. A little bit of an ego right there, too. Didn't want the fastball in, and Murph went to all the different off-speed pitches to try and trick him. And he said, no, I just want that nice fastball away. He just missed with it. Showing some confidence.
Misses low, and Jones walks to keep the 7th inning going.
Don't mind the pitch selection, young man. Just need to execute it. But boy, does he have good stuff.
And now the former Stanford outfielder, Austin Slater. Look at those numbers. 393.
It's not a typo.
Drafted out of Stanford by the Giants, but he was drafted out of high school by the Dodgers. Jacksonville, Florida. Elected instead to play college ball, and was taken in the 8th round 3 years ago.
Some people at home might be thinking, why in the world didn't they sign him? A guy that hit 393 in AA and AAA. Well, it's always the choice of the player. You grade a player not only on his ability, but his signability. They were probably taking a little bit of a risk, knowing that maybe he wanted to go to college, but maybe they convinced him to stay.
Shoots one to deep right that's over Puig's head and off the wall. They will hold the runner at third, and into second with a double goes Slater. Double check, by the way. I had a feeling the 393 was a little high.
Was it?
That was the on-base percentage.
Okay.
Still really good. And he
Was
hit
it typo?
305 as far as the average goes. But
there's some kind of swing right there to hit a ball this far. The ball carries a little further here in Arizona in a light air. Yasiel did a nice job getting that off the wall and getting it in quickly to save the run with 2 outs.
you know, Michael Morse, who gets a great hand from this crowd. Morse getting the chance to make this team. It'd be his second time with the Giants. Played 2014 with San Francisco. The way that he got this opportunity was by sitting at the same table as some Giants brass at Hunter Pence's wedding this offseason. They struck a handshake deal that he'd be a non-roster invitee to camp. And now battling for that left field spot, playing some first base today. Goes to short, and Kike Hernandez throws him out to bring the 7th inning to a close. We march on to the 8th after a scoreless inning of work for Shea Spitzbach. Seven-5 game, top of the 8th, and despite Chipotle sitting there in the clubhouse, Cody Bellinger took a moment with Alana Rizzo.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Cody, 2 for 9 in spring, which the results don't necessarily matter, but I'm still waiting for that home run that you hit to land at this point. But your thoughts about how this spring has gone for you overall and kind of where your swing is at?
Yeah, it's been fun. I think it helps last year, you know, coming in and trying to get comfortable and kind of getting comfortable and, you know, kind of know what to expect this year. And, yeah, you said it, you know, the swing's coming along. You try to grind it out every day to find it so you can be competitive in every at-bat.
Your swing really has come along the last couple of years in the minor leagues. 56 out of your 60 home runs have come the last 2 seasons. Where were you able to find that power?
A couple different things. Obviously, gaining weight helps. Our old hitting coach, Damon Mayshore, he helped my swing a lot, critiqued it, and kind of made me more consistent through the zone. That's just been the biggest thing for me.
What's been the biggest part of this camp for you? You said last year the experience helped you, but you could have a much more significant role this season.
Yeah, like I said before, I want to show everyone that they can trust me when they make the call. Obviously, there's a lot of guys on the team, so I'm just trying to show what I can do this spring and show them that I'm ready.
You're currently the top prospect in the Dodgers organization, according to several different outlets. Any additional pressure that comes with that?
Not really. You know, you kind of have to block it out because at the end of the day, you still have to perform. And, you know, it is cool seeing your name up there and, you know, showing that all the hard work pays off. But at the end of the day, you know, the goal is the big leagues, and that's what I'm trying to do. And
you've been now drafted by this organization 4 years ago. How much are you chomping at the bit to get to this point and stay here? Yeah, I mean, that's been my dream for a long time. And they have a great team. They have a chance to win it this year with a great coaching staff. So I just want to be a part of it. It's been fun watching you so far this spring. Thanks, Cody. Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys.
All right, Alana, thanks to Cody. Kike Hernandez taking a strike after the Puig double. And so you see, we talked about the power, we talked about the glove. And clearly a well-spoken, polite guy, too.
Impressive young man. Walk that tightrope, too, of when you know you've got a great veteran in Adrian Gonzalez in front of you that's driven in 90 or so RBIs a year over a long period of time. Adrian hasn't been swinging the bat yet. He'll be swinging it in the WBC when he joins Team Mexico. But Cody's got quite a player in front of him. He's still looking for an opportunity.
By the way, somebody made a Facebook for your hamstring.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the full hamstring, or they just go hammy?
Orel's hammy, I think, yeah, is what it's called. Two and one.
Glad we didn't continue on that vein.
Didn't look like we needed to do anymore. Got your message across, got your Facebook page. Although they kind of posted a picture of your quad.
Oh. Whoever's running that page, they need to get anatomically correct. Oh, no. What's he doing? He's looking like he's having an issue. He was tiptoeing back to second base after his secondary lead.
Might have just been being Puig. Yeah. Hernandez flies it to center. Ruggiano. Well, I think Puig's feeling fine.
Oh my gosh. He's just Puiging. He is a wonderful young man. Done some awkward things, but I'll tell you what, he's fun to be around. You just point it all in the right direction. It's going to be special.
Koye Dixon, homered yesterday, comes up here. And I think that everyone would agree that that kind of stuff, that personality, goes over a lot better when you produce.
Oh, for sure.
And Puig would be the first to admit that he hasn't over the last couple of years. And he's admitted that the weight of the expectations that first season put on him have gotten to himself. And Puig gets hung up between home and third, and a ball bounced directly at Arroyo. And they get him. Up to second goes Okoye.
Well, good job by Yasiel staying in the rundown long enough to get the batter runner to second base. So that's a good thing. They probably were going on contact. Sometimes even when you're going on contact, you want to have a slight read that the ball might not be caught right away. But this is a good job here. Chris Woodward pointing towards second base from the third base coaching box, getting the man in scoring position with 2 outs. Makes this rundown all worthwhile.
Alex Verdugo headed to play for Team Mexico next week. Be a heck of an experience for him. This is another one of the top prospects in the system. Spent last year with Tulsa.
Cody Bellinger hailed from Scottsdale, and they were both hitting their home runs in Maryvale. And he hails from Tucson.
Yeah. Shoots one to Arroyo at third. The top prospect in the Giants system gets Verdugo to bring the top of the 8th to a close. On to the bottom half at 7-5 LA. Tomorrow on an all-new Backstage Dodgers, Dave Roberts preps for the first team meeting of the year, and he's mic'd up for the first full squad workout. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers at 8 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. That is a awesome show. Kyle Hooper comes in. You know, that's been one of the things that I've loved in my month being a Southern California resident, is being able to watch Backstage Dodgers and some of the exclusive stuff we've got on Sportsnet LA. Dave Roberts, Rick Honeycutt navigating through the final innings of this game and going to the latest JIC, right?
Yep, just in case. JIC.
This one's Kyle Hooper. He's a Los Angeles area guy out of Woodland Hills, and they played his college ball with the Anteaters at UC Irvine.
Well, we used to spring train in Florida. We'd hit on the road because the road trips were so far. You'd leave so early in the morning to get to the far-off cities. So a lot of the JICs came just to shag for the big league pitchers that didn't want to shag during BP. And it was like 2-3 hour bus rides, a box sandwich, and shag for batting practice. You didn't get in the game very often, but they do a better and better job every year of really giving these kids a chance to get in the game and get some experience, not just take the bus rides over. And here in Arizona, the rides are so much easier. Is it only about 35 minutes for us to come over from Glendale?
It took about 40, but the wrong time of day, it could be bad. I think it took the Dodgers quite a while to get over here. They left a little after we did. It's hard because there is no expressway that cuts right through the middle of the Phoenix area. You've got the 10 that kind of runs under it, and then there's an expressway that loops all the way over and around the middle part of Phoenix. But to get from Glendale, where the Dodgers are, to here in Scottsdale, kind of have to go around, either dip down south or go up north and loop around.
I've made this drive quite often from Glendale because the restaurants over here in Scottsdale are pretty good.
2-2 on Christian Arroyo, the top prospect in the Giants system. He drags a breaking ball to third. And a long throw gets him. Rob Seguin playing over there right now, helping Kyle Hooper out for the first out of the 8th inning. I'm about to join you on the ditching the scorecard thing at this point. But I'm not going to do it. I'm close, but I'm not going to do it yet. Whitten Bernard bats.
I'm proud of you.
Okay, thanks, Orel. Buckler, strike one.
Little slide piece on the outer half of the plate. Kyle Hooper got a great pitcher's frame, narrow waist, a little broader shoulders, gives him some good breaks as he brings that arm through.
So you're back into your instructor role tomorrow, right?
I've extended my stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about going home tomorrow, but I'm going to stay through about March 6th. Need to go home for a few things and then get back here to broadcast with you. We have the games on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And before that, I'll probably come back on like the 13th or so and get back in the uniform for a while and visit with the guys, and then we'll go into those games. I'll probably be doing 2-a-days.
Yeah. So right now you're wearing the uniform during the day and the suit during the night. You're going to keep doing that in the regular season, where during the day you'll go to lunch in a Dodger uniform? And I
just kind of, I step in the phone booth and I come out in my sport coat, open collar. I'll be ready.
Right.
I don't know what they do with the uniform that when it ends up at the bottom of the phone booth.
Maybe what we can do is, like Superman, you can have both on, so you can have your Dodger coat for the morning and you just unzip it and there's your sport coat and everything. And,
that would work.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, the guys have been very receptive. Yeah. It's been fun to really dig in with the minor league guys. They had me come over and speak to them for about 30-40 minutes the other day, and got to review that I was a 17th round draft pick, signed for $10,000 in a new glove, spent 4.5 years in the minor leagues, trip to Venezuela, trip to Dominican for winter ball. And it kind of opens guys' eyes open, because they only know the finished resume. They have no idea where you started and what you had to go through to get to the big leagues. And I think it encourages them a lot of times to know that, Tom Niedenfear, one of my teammates, who's an undrafted pitcher. And a lot of guys, pitching comes from all over. It's not just the big #1 draft picks. So there's a #1 draft pick over there with the Dodgers that's very impressive right now, named Walker Buehler. And he's come back from his Tommy John surgery, throwing the ball free and easy. It's another one to look for over the next few years.
Out of Vanderbilt. Down the right field line. It's a long run for Tyler Holt, and it's foul.
Well, those guys over on the minor league side under Gabe Kapler, they've done an amazing job. And Andrew Friedman, in his interview with us, talked about it, how proud he is of what's going on over there on the development side. You see the intensity and the attention to detail from the instructors, and the way they care for each individual guy with their player plans, and how they really want them all to make it. And they're not all going to end up being Dodgers, but they all end up being assets somewhere in organized baseball, professional baseball, because they might end up in the big leagues in some other organization.
Good at bat going for Bernard here. We'll do the 3-2 again.
And they'll end up as assets for the Dodgers and for the Dodger fans, because if those guys turn themselves into big league prospects and are traded or moved around, hopefully the Dodgers in return get a higher quality piece, or somebody that blossoms into a need that the big club needs.
That rides inside, and Bernard earns the walk. And I mean earns. Orlando Calixte comes up.
You've had some names today that are challenging.
Yeah, Giants have quite a few. Their pronunciation guide is long. They do a great job, though, Giants PR staff. To strike.
Did you think Kyle Hooper, when he was drafted in the 25th round in the 2013 first-year player draft, would think he'd be pitching in a big league game here in Arizona a couple of years later? It's quite an accomplishment. You got your prospects and you got your suspects, and sometimes the suspects turn into prospects.
And sometimes, unfortunately, it goes the other way.
It takes, 9 guys to go out there and play, and so if you've got a #1 draft pick that you want to develop, you've got to put some people around him. You can't play the game by himself, and so you draft in a way that you try and find tools that might develop. You might find a polished product that you just need to kind of mature with. But you need 9. In most places, you need 25 or so on the roster to have those top prospects be able to play in the minor leagues and develop. That was definitely my case. I was an organizational player. And all of a sudden, a few things clicked.
Was there a singular moment where you knew that it had clicked?
There were spurts. In AA, the first 3 months of the season, I think I had like a .6 ERA, and I was mowing everybody down. And all of a sudden, I had a little twinge here and there, a little back stiffness, and all of a sudden, in 3 outings, my ERA went from .6 to 8.6. I almost wanted to quit. Actually, did go back at one point and called my pitching coach and said, I'm just really not sure I'm coming in today. I think if I can't get these guys out, I don't think I'm going to be able to pitch in the big leagues. But they convinced me to come back and keep going at it. And the one thing that did make me want to keep going was the fact that for that 3-month period, I was really starting to feel it. And it was really starting to come out of my hand with good depth as far as the sinker, and the breaking ball was now a strike. If I needed to bounce it, I could. And they just reminded me of that. And pretty much a minor leaguer has all the talent it takes to play at the big league level or pitch at the big league level. It's about consistency. It's just about the execution on a daily basis. A lot of world-class eye-hand coordination in the minor leagues, but it's building that discipline. And that's what's so impressive about the Dodgers minor league development system, is how they're building that character in young men. And that character will lead to discipline and a work ethic that will be attention to detail and give them the best chance to be big leaguers. And if they don't make it, they'll be able to transfer those lessons into some other portion of their life later.
It's a strike on Juniel Kiriquito. You're right about the names on this Giants roster tonight. 24-year-old from Venezuela, representing the tying run here in the 8th inning. And waiting on a 1-1 pitch. Kyle Hooper. Breaking ball, sliced to left, drops in, base hit. This will score Bernard, and it's a 7-6 game.
Nice piece of hitting, a nice pitch right there, but just able to stay with it and flick it out there to left field. Watch this, breaking ball is down and away. It's got sharp break, good location. But sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the hitters who stick it out there and make it hit some outfield grass.
Second time up there for Ramis Garcia.
Two-out man on first. If he can run a little bit, there might be an attempted steal here.
Clayton Kershaw goes again for the Dodgers tomorrow, by the way. They'll take on the Indians. And he's due his next outing. Then Friday, split squad. Brandon McCarthy will start one game. Rich Hill will start the other. McCarthy, one of those guys battling for the 4th or 5th roster or rotation spots.
He's thrown the ball well this spring. Coming off the injury from last year and some mechanical issues also, like Scott Kazmir, but he has really worked hard to developed some things that he wanted to work on, and he's starting to do them consistently.
One and two. We've got several guys coming back from injuries, battling for those two spots. Kazmir, who started tonight, Mitch McCarthy on Friday. Alex Wood coming back from the elbow. Jin Ryu. 1-2 to Garcia. He's tapped foul. Then you've got the young guys. Urias figures whenever the organization decides is going to have one of those two spots. But then Stripling and Stewart, they both had flashes of being really good last year.
If you remember the workload definitions and really the forecast for Julio last year, it was kind of interrupted because of so many injuries to the rotation. So they kind of adjusted their workload. They didn't go after over the number they wanted to, but it was sooner, later, and wove it right into the season.
We'll talk a little more about Julio and his situation when we come back for the ninth. More than 9,000 here tonight during the 7th inning stretch. The root for the was pretty split, even though we're in Giants territory. Heard as many Dodger shouts as we did Giants shouts. New pitcher is a guy that has plenty of big league time under his belt. Neil Ramirez. Split last year between 3 teams: Cubs, Brewers, Twins, and got a World Series ring thanks to his few games that he pitched for the Cubs. There was a season a few years ago when he was one of the top relievers in that Chicago bullpen back in 2014, but then struggled in 15, bounced all over the place with rotten numbers last year, trying to rediscover something here in San Francisco. We started to talk a little bit about Julio Urias going to the break and how the organization plans on setting him up as far as the innings go. And you mentioned how things had to adjust because of the injuries in the rotation and because the team needed him, but threw a career high 127 2/3 innings split between the levels. And Farhan Zaidi, the GM this week, even admitted that that was a good chunk over what they had planned. The previous career high was 87 innings, so it went from 87 to 127. And just looking at that trend, you'd expect the number to jump into the 160 to 180 range. Just a matter of when you use those bullets. And the tendency is to want to use them later when the games mean more.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the plan really hasn't been announced because, as they always say from the front office, those things have a tendency to work themselves out. So through production of other people, through possible injuries that might creep up, you don't want to announce some plan and then have to adjust it.
there's no pressure to announce the plan right now, so why do that? Just let it all play out and know that you can monitor those innings early in the season. You can monitor those innings during the season. You can monitor them around the All-Star break, because there's a long break. Maybe you miss a start or two around that. But so many different scenarios are going to pop up throughout this year that if you started him right from the very beginning, depending on what goes on, would he get 32 starts? He might. Would he get only 26, or maybe where they want him to be? Who knows? And how many innings he'll end up. But there's no pressure to make the decision right now. So we all just get to speculate and watch what happens.
It's part of this time of year, though, right? We cling to these storylines, and that's certainly one of them. We look back at his rookie season. First 2 games at New York, at Chicago. He gave up 8 runs in those 2 outings. But after that, a .273 earned run average. And that's over the final several months to earn himself a spot in the postseason rotation. Jack Murphy looks at strike 3 from Ramirez. Became the youngest ever to win a postseason game. Game 5 of the NLDS. Youngest ever to start a postseason game when he started game 4 of the NLCS.
He learned a lot of big lessons and a lot of subtle lessons last year, and you see it already in spring in the side works. In his game the other day, he came in breathing fire in his first inning, and then he owned the inning of that, and then threw a second inning down in the bullpen. But he was being clocked at 93 to 97 miles an hour in the first inning, and he had the tendency in other outings in the past to kind of ease into an outing, and the big league lineup can catch up to you really quick if you're easing into an outing and not using your best bullets early on. So he did a very nice job coming out of the bullpen and breathing fire. And that playoff experience has got to do something for his confidence, to play against the finest in the biggest moments and to succeed and take you into a regular season with a lot of confidence that I know how to do this, and I know I can do this.
I've got to imagine that just being year 2 versus year 1 is huge.
It is. It's absolutely huge. There's so many one-of-a-kinds when you first get here. You know, every stadium, the perspective from the mound, getting used to the clubhouse, how you're going to work out, where's the weight room, what's the hotel life like, you know, where can I eat, where can I trust the food, and what time can I get in. All the different things you learn about the big league lifestyle that actually is a slight bit of chaos.
Eibner flies one down the right field line that will peel foul.
I mean, so many people talk about culture shock when you move from one country to another, or one neighborhood from another within the United States, or one state to another. I mean, there is a culture shock to becoming a big leaguer, and all the different things that are required of you, and the scheduling and the travel. And it's nothing to whine about. They're paid handsomely. It's a dream come true, and it's the best place in the world to play baseball, but there still is an adjustment.
And once you taste it, I'm sure it's eating at Julio to know that there's a chance that he's not going to break camp with a big league club.
It can drive you crazy if you taste it and you never get back, but it's a young man, no matter where he ends up or starts this year, he's going to be back. There's a few of them that'll probably not make the team that have tasted it last year and made a huge impact, and they're going to have to go down to AAA or AA or wherever they're sent with the confidence that this team is not going to make it through the year with just 25 guys, not with just 11 or 12 pitchers, you know, maybe not with just 2 catchers, that there will be an opportunity, and they need to be ready when that opportunity comes.
How good is Oklahoma City going to be?
They're going to be pretty good. They're going to be pretty good. But Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman and Farhan Zaidi have preached that right from day one, from when the pitchers reported to when the regulars reported, that, guys, we're a living, breathing example that it took 55 players last year to win the 4th division title in a row for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Eibner grounds out, 2 away.
You can preach it, but sometimes the players don't believe you. But they don't need to preach it real hard this year. It happened.
So the jump from year 1 to year 2, huge for Urias, and I'm sure the same can be said for Dave Roberts, just in the comfort of coming to spring training with the culture established and with the credibility established from such a incredible first season. That was capped with National League Manager of the Year honors. Chris Taylor looks at a strike.
One of the best things about putting the uniform on this spring has been able to witness his meetings in the morning with the players and to be in uniform in those meetings, to see the character of the man and the sense of humor of the man and how he can run a ball club. And he does it in a way that they know he's the boss, but they also know that he cares so very much. And there's such a camaraderie that he creates around himself. There's an aura and a sense of respect and humor, and just amazing that he's so consistent.
He's talked about how, as a player, in order for him to stick around, he had to be the kind of guy that made everybody around him better. And it's that philosophy and that angle that he takes on a day-to-day that has allowed him to succeed as a major league manager, having never managed before. The 1-2 to Taylor. Inside, 2-2.
He has the ability to be strong and consistent, and then he also has the ability to laugh at himself. And I've always believed that team chemistry is built on shared common experiences, and he creates those naturally within the ball club.
Taylor down swinging. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning in a 7-6 game under Dave Roberts' watch here in Scottsdale. Michael Johnson on to pitch the bottom of the 9th for the Dodgers. East Coast guy who played his college ball at Dartmouth, was one of the top Ivy League pitchers a few years back. Spent last season in Tulsa, climbing up the minor league ladder. Started in rookie ball his first year, then low A, then high A, then double A. He'd love to make that AAA roster and keep that stair-step climb going.
I had a chance to work with Michael over on the minor league side. He's a fine young man. He's got some nice solid mechanics. He's learning to leverage the ball a little bit farther down the hill. For every foot you get closer to the hitter, it's 3-mile-an-hour reaction time to that hitter. So you can make a 86, 89-mile-an-hour fastball, and you can jump it up there 2-3 mile an hour if you can get down the hill a little bit farther. And that's what in the big leagues you decide is called sneaky fast, because it's not just the radar gun. You're closer to the hitter, and you know he's not a big guy, tall in stature, so he's got to get every ounce of that height down the hill so he can get a quicker reaction time to the hitter and his pitches.
And they actually have a way of quantifying that. Now, we're talking about sneaky fast. Perceived velocity is something where they take into account a guy's extension. There's a guy named Carter Capps, who the Dodgers are probably going to see plenty of this year in San Diego, who has the highest perceived velocity in baseball. And I think you'll recognize him once you see him. You'll say, oh, he's that guy, if you're not already familiar with Capps. Came over from the Marlins. Hasn't pitched in a couple of years because of Tommy John surgery, but he's the guy who does the little hop off of the rubber that has been deemed illegal at times. But I just saw the other day a video of him doing it still in the Padres spring training site, so I think that he's still planning on using that. And it's incredible extension. He's already a long, tall guy. So while it may be 95 on the radar gun, typically the perceived velocity is much higher because the extension is so good. Ruggiano to second. Darnell Sweeney.
I can't wait till they can quantify deception. When the pitcher is hiding the ball, we see so many guys take the ball out of their glove and they'll hide it behind their back leg, and then they'll bring their arm up behind their torso, and then all of a sudden the arm kind of appears from behind their head. And then you've got other guys that are kind of twisters, and they've got elbows and knees flying at you, and it's hard for the hitter to actually pick the ball up. So we're going to get to a point where lasers and cameras can start to quantify deception.
How do you think they do it? Like what kind of number would it be?
I think they're going to have to laser somewhere from where they perceive the hitter's eyes are pointed out towards the pitcher's release point.
Okay.
And how many different times or how much time is the ball visible? And is the arm swing visible? Because hitters are trying to time the delivery and pick up the release point.
Seguin shows a strong arm to get him.
So when a pitcher's delivery has a rhythm to it, it gets easier for the hitter to find that rhythm. When a pitcher's arm path out of his glove is easier to see, you can then get a rhythm for when the ball is going to appear. And so there's got to possibly be a way, scientifically, that we're going to be able to quantify deception. And then pitchers might be able to also develop deliveries that they can deliver the ball well, but also have it be deceptive. I used to have hitters hit in the left-hand batter's box and the right-hand batter's box for me and just say, tell me what you see. Am I showing you my breaking ball too early? Are you seeing me where the fastball looks like it's not guarded enough? Maybe I need to coil a little bit more. Maybe I got to take the ball out of my glove and really make sure I don't flash it to you behind me, so that you can recognize the grip just from that little flash from behind me, right there behind your hip. I think those are some of the subtleties of baseball that kind of fans don't always realize that players are working on. And when a hitter comes back to the dugout and says he's really hard to pick up, or boy, he's 95, what's it like? Or he's 97, he goes, don't worry, he's easy. You see it all the way.
The Dodgers a strike away from wrapping up a 7-6 win over the Giants. And Johnson finishes him off with a strikeout over the outside corner. A 1-2-3 ninth inning of work for smiling Michael Johnson. And the Dodgers beat the Giants tonight 7-6. Their Cactus League record now 4-1. The Giants falling to 3-3. It was fun, Orel. Good to be back with you and Alana.
Fantastic to open with the Giants for our broadcast. We'll have some more down the road.
Yeah, the three of us will be together again next weekend. Final score 7-6. You can join us on radio tomorrow, 12:05. Dodgers facing the Indians on KLAC, and Charlie and Mo will be on the call there. Next game on SNLA will be Saturday at 12:05 against the Cubs. For now, we throw you to John Hartung and Jerry Hairston Jr. for Access Sportsnet Dodgers. Take it away, boys.